Hello and welcome to day 11 of Adventures in Tarot Casting. Today I am going to showcase the Crystal Ribs board. This is a painting that I have done a long time ago. If you were able to zoom in on this signature, you would see that I painted this in 2013. I painted it using watercolors. The watercolors that I generally use are the FW liquid acrylic inks. It's a very popular way for people in the tattoo community. They generally use liquid acrylics when they're using watercolors, and you know, it's a way of wetting the paper and pulling the color out. I don't really use normal in quotes watercolors. So the idea behind this board was, I think at that time, I must say, I was, doing a lot of anatomy-based tattoos. So there was, a few jawbones. I think they were just really trendy at that time. And of course, rib cages. And I was just like, well, this would be fun. And a rib cage is kind of something that holds us, right? It holds us together. It basically is our entire chest cavity. It protects it, so it protects what is sacred in that part of our body, and it helps give our body structure. So if you want to look at it in an oracle meaning, obviously I didn't draw it that way, but if you were to look at something like that, you could say, okay, well, the rib cage is upside down and it's containing these crystals that are growing out from the core, and then the roses, just offset, excuse me, in order to make the picture a little bit more balanced. But I think then if I want to, like I said, if I want to look at this in a deeper metaphysical way, I could say it's about protecting what is most sacred, because it protects our heart, right? So this is the Crystal Ribs tarot casting board, and let's just get started. I'm going to be using the Lucky Potion Oracle as the oracle card above everything. It is by Oddmixmarket. I will link it in the comments. I'm also going to be using the Out of Hand Tarot for the central, and then I have the 1909 Rider-Waite-Smith tiles and my Linocut Lenormand tiles, and then I'm going to be using nature portals for the four corners. So let's just see. So when I know I've done this spread before, and I think that today is a good day to get back to it, just kind of as a excuse me, can't speak. Still early, first day of my new tongue. So it's a palette cleanser, because yesterday we did the ancestral tree and it was a bit different and pretty big spread. So this one, it kind of brings us back. I use this spread kind of like my personal 3 card. So I know I've said before it's like a daily mixture, but again, you can use these placements any way you like. This is just what works for me in order to get the best narrative and the best message. And let's just get to it. So what is it that so going with that theme of the rib cage protecting what is sacred. So what is sacred to us, right? What do we hold sacred? What needs protecting? And as I shuffle, I keep that thought in mind. I keep it, a little bit just there in the forefront, so that way I know that that's what this reading is about. Cut the deck. And let's see. The King of Cups. So when I ask, what do we hold sacred? I get the card that basically is the master of holding things sacred, right? So the King of Cups is that energy of just somebody who is really in control of their emotions. If you were to have a discussion with this person, and perhaps you're this person, they may have a very inspiring mind, but their heart is what really leads them through this door, right? So now that we know what to hold sacred, I'm going to use, like I said, I'm going to pull an oracle card. I always do it second, even though it would probably make more sense to do it first, but I like to get the overall, the central focus this is just how I've always done this spread. You can do it in any order that you want. The cool thing about Richard's deck, which is the Lucky Potion Oracle, is once I pull the card, I'll show you. He created this system to give you a few different options on how you wish to read the card. That's what this dice is here for. Okay, give it one more shuffle, and then I will cut it. And we've got vision. So throw that one up there. And so with the dice, we can say, we can look at this and go, okay, vision, you know, we can examine the card a little bit and be like, all right, well, it looks like a bunch of jellyfish surrounding a potion bottle. And that's, the whole deck has a bunch of potion bottles. And so this dice lets us know what we do with this potion, right? And so the image on it, you can see it's complete and intact. And if you have his little guidebook, which I do, I'm gonna find vision. It's in the blue section. He's got it all color coded, which is pretty cool. It's number 5. Vision. So he's got in the guidebook what the meanings are for the thing. So you've got, you know, sip it, share it, or smash it is basically what it is. Drink it, share it, smash it. So we're going to drink the vision, right? So it says, as you sip the hot liquid, a warmth flows up your neck and around the base of your skull. Suddenly you understand exactly what obstacle you face and what steps you need to take to solve it. While the truth can be frightening, you know you have the foresight to conquer it. Right? Pretty cool, considering now we have this, what we hold sacred, and our vision is what we hold sacred. And the King of Cups shows us how to deliver this, right? Delivering our vision from the heart. It's something we protect, but it's also something that we need to share, because we don't just sit at home in a corner protecting ourselves, because then we won't see the world. We won't experience anything, right? So the vision and just taking it all in and being able to see where we need to explore this is something that is just something that needs to be done, right? So going into the tarot tiles, I'm going to pull all 4. We have Justice, and these could be telling us kind of what our vision is about, right? So when we build upon a reading like this, it's almost like little pieces of the puzzle start coming in more clarity. So now we got the 6 of Swords, the 8 of Cups, and Judgment. Nothing like some small cards, right? So our vision and what it is that we are going at compassionately and that we are sharing has to do with balance, right? It has to go do with this justice, this seeing the inequality in the world, seeing maybe where we've wronged people and where we, you know, where there are people still being wronged, and seeking a way to move away from it, right? So identifying this problem and seeing it for what it is makes us want to figure out how to tip the scales back into balance. So as you see, I take a little bit of each card and I kind of weave them back and forth in order to build it into this story. So Justice with the 8 of Cups, my brain first goes, okay, justice is to me about outward balance, right? It's social justice. It's things outside of us. It's not an internal thing. It's legal matters. It's, you know, maybe the results of the protests, the hearings, everything that's going on in the world right now. And then on top of that 8 of Cups, the first thing that comes to mind is the moving away, right? Stacking what we know in order to be able to seek out a better solution. And that brings us to this King of Cups energy, which is like I said, it's the person who is in control of their emotions. So they're not acting out of emotion. They understand that our emotions can be a very strong thing if we use them to our advantage. And that's being able to see that vision and being like, you know, the reason I drew this as a counselor, it's somebody who is helping us through it, helping us see where the changes need to be made. And we have that desire to move forward. So then now we're moving forward, and we've got literally the card that is talking about moving forward. We've got the Six of Swords. And in this, the symbolism of this card, a lot of times, excuse me, you have the choppy water down here. It's the, you know, and then on the other side, we have those calmer shores, the calm water. So it's kind of like we're being ferried to safety, right? And sometimes in order to be ferried to safety, we need to seek out somebody who knows how to navigate the waters. And the King of Cups knows how to do that. And then we have the Judgment, and they are there to help us with anything that might come up. You know, if you're doing any sort of deep dives, if you're doing any sort of work that involves looking at bringing yourself back into balance, bringing the world around you back into balance, a lot of things are going to come up. And that's why you might need to talk to a counselor, because they're going to help you see it for what it is. You know, like therapy is not a bad thing. And seeing the Judgment with the Six of Swords is talking about we need a rational mind to help us with whatever it is that we are facing, right? So I'm going to bring in some Lenormand, because you know I love to do that, especially if you've been watching these every day with me. And so here we have Clover, Moon, Rider, House, and Stars. Okay. So I don't know if you've noticed so far how these readings at first, like even I notice it when I'm saying it, right? I say what comes to mind first, and then it starts to get deeper, and it starts to get deeper, because as a conversation deepens, that's what these sessions are. And as this conversation deepens, more things come in, and some things may have felt irrelevant at first if you had just looked at it, you know, out of context. But then you're going, okay, well, how do we get from this to what protects our heart? You know, if we go back to that initial thought of what a rib cage is for and how it protects what's sacred. Well, being able to bring ourselves back into balance is probably one of the most sacred things. It's like a goal of everybody, is to feel balance, to feel that enlightenment that brings us peace, right? And so these tiles and the cards and everything, how they weave back and forth, I've said it before, is like a conversation. It's like bringing in many people in order to build upon it. And the cards help us have a conversation with ourselves, you know. So when we add the layer of the opportunities in Clover is luck, hope, opportunities, it's quickly, it's something that happened fast. It's many little things, you know. Think about what a clover is. And then how does that apply to the justice? How does that apply to really looking at things with a truthful eye and discernment, and deciding to move away from it, you know, deciding to be like, okay, I'm done with that, so I'm going to walk away. Well, it's seeing all the little opportunities, and then seeing the hope in those opportunities, and knowing that now is the time to take the stand so that we can get past this, right? And that's when we come back into this King of Cups energy, and it says, okay, well, if you're exploring these ideas, let me help you through it. And if it's not you, then perhaps it's your therapist, or perhaps it's somebody who you always call for advice, or the person that you talk to that even when everything feels like they fall apart, you just feel better after you get off the phone with them. That's this person, right? You can tell them about your visions. You can tell them about what it is that is really filling you up. And then we can move past it. You know, we get to this point of being like, okay, well, a lot of things might come up, but now that you're hearing the call and you're ready to move past it, this is when you're coming into your true calling, your true vocation. The spotlight, which is the moon, is shining on you. It's reflecting back to you. Okay, you've seen what it is. Now go do the thing, right? And then I always like to use these three at the bottom as kind of like action steps, the summation of the reading, just something to help us wrap this all up, right? And so we have the home with the rider and the stars. And home talks about that peace, right? It could be our family. It could be just the comfort, the place that you feel safe. And it's you know, so what is safe about the home? It's because you're able to receive your messages there. It's the news that is arriving, and it's that feels like this is written in the stars for you. It's let it be your guide. So your sanctuary brings messages of what it is that you're supposed to be doing. This is a place that is close to you. This is your sacred space, right? So there's going to be news that comes, and you're going to be seeing the arrival of this change, and it's going to feel organic. It's going to feel like it was written in the stars, you know, which is pretty awesome. So that is kind of how I tie all these together. Like I said, I know I've done this spread before because it's on some other boards, but each time you do it, you're going to kind of read it in different ways. I mean, you could go back and forth. You can really look at this as a puzzle, and if you want to keep the conversation going, you could be like, okay, well, this is a 5-card reading. You know, this is how do these two play off each other? What if these two were together, you know, as another way to read things? And you could say, okay, the moon with the opportunities, like the moon in the clover talks about many opportunities are going to show up in, you know, what it is, like your vocation that you're moving towards. So I'm going to give us some portals for the corners, and I like to add the animal tiles with this because it just kind of, I look at these as pillars. I look at these as things that give us guideposts, you know, things to look about during the day or whenever it is that you happen upon this video. Maybe it's just a one-time thing and this is your reading for the week, you know. But as I've been doing these videos, I assume that you're here with me for the long haul. At least I hope you are. Okay, so we have fox. Zoom in on that. Put that there. I guess it wouldn't be a reading if I didn't drop something on the floor. We've got turtle. Spider. And one more. Owl. So a little side note about my nature's portals. I did not, like, it comes with a link to a journal, and there is a physical journal that you can get via print on demand through lulu.com. I did not write meanings for the cards. I gave keywords that I associate with these animals. I created that deck in a time where in my own personal world, there was a lot of spotlights on people appropriating traditions and, you know, different systems from, well, appropriation is taking from a culture that's not yours. I am not Native American, so I'm not going to tell you that when you see a fox, it means this, that when you see a turtle, it means this, because to do so is jumping out of my own personal lane. But I can tell you what I feel when I see a fox. I can tell you what I feel when I see a turtle. And that is kind of how the guidebook, again, with the quotes, is written for this book, because I want you to forge your own relationship with these animals. I want you to write what they mean to you, right? So in that journal, my mother and I both shared little quips of what these animals mean for us, and then I kind of took keywords and asked questions based on those to create what the animals so-called mean. But so when I see a fox, and I put it up here in the corner, I just think about the nocturnal energy. So when I see this and I think about around here, we can hear them obviously more than we can see them, but we do have a family of foxes, and the red foxes, the vixens, they scream, right? They scream into the night to state their boundaries. And so maybe there's a place today that you need to really speak about your boundaries. The turtle, the box turtle, we have them on our property, and when I see them, it's kind of like it goes back to this sanctuary feeling. Home is where you make it. Home is something that you carry with you. It's not necessarily a place, and it's not even a destination. It's always with you if you're able to tap into what it is that really is important to you, right? Spider is probably one of my favorite cards in the Oracle deck, because I love the idea that spiders, especially the orb spiders, like we have these around here as well, like they will literally create a new web every night, a new home every night. They tidy up their space by cutting away the little pieces that they're finished with. You know, spiders tell us to create the world in which we wish to see in order to catch what we want, you know. So whenever I see spider, I just think about creation. And then owl as a guidepost, you know we have them. I don't see them, but I hear them sometimes if I'm out at night. And we've seen remnants that they do exist around here, but owls, you can't think about an owl and not think about the wise old owl. You know, being a child of growing up in the 80s, I was born in the late 70s, but growing up in the 80s, owls in cartoons were always the wise ones. They were always the wisdom seekers, or the ones that you would go to for knowledge, you know. So when I see an owl, I just think about there's going to be a layer of needing to get in touch with wisdom, right? So we've got boundaries, sanctuary, create, wisdom. So it's in order to see these as guideposts, you kind of think about, well, what do boundaries look like to me, and how do I need to voice them? What does home look like to me, and how do I create that sacred space? Creation, what is it that I do that I enjoy doing, or that helps to make my world around me a better place? How do I create that? And wisdom, what do I believe in, and when was the last time I actually questioned these beliefs, and do they still serve me? You know, so all of this can go back to that central focus of that King of Cups, with the desire to explore the vision that we have, right? So that is this board. That is the reading. That is how you can take an image and create a general theme. So we took that painting of mine and created this general theme around it, and then got this whole message. So I really enjoy that you're here with me. And again, I hope you are liking this series. If you are, please let me know in the comments. And I will see you tomorrow.